Morning children. Today I am going to start the new lesson, that is the drama which has been given here, a play by the name A Sunny Morning. Here children, the play which has been written here is written by two brothers, the Spanish brothers, the name of the two brothers is Serafin and Joaquin Alvarez Quinto. They are the most famous playwrights of Spain. So first let me get introduced to the authors. Serafin and Joaquin Alvarez Quinto were Spanish brothers, and they were well known as the Golden Boys of Madrid theatre. They were well known playwrights of the earlier 20th century. Together they wrote about nearly 200 plays which depict the life, manners and speech of the people of Andalusia in southern Spain. Their popular comedies, most of them they have written comedies, and in that also the most popular comedy plays of them are many of which have been translated into many other languages also, many other foreign languages. And what we come to know is translated to other languages contributed to the revival of Spanish theatre. So it has given the Spanish theatre's contribution of that. Some of the famous plays, the comedy plays which were translated into other foreign languages were The Flowers, The Merry Heart, 100 Years Ago, The Galley Slave, and The Apple of His Eye are some of their most popular plays. So we came to know about these two brothers who were called as the Golden Boys of Madrid theatre. So now children, let us go with the introduction of the lesson. So here we are understanding that it is a sunny morning. So the very title Sunny Morning tells you something which is very bright, a bright day, and here we come to know that whatever happens, why the title has been given as a sunny morning, we come to know when we go through the play. Now when we are going through the play, here we come across the pre-reading activity which has been given here. So the pre-reading activity, when we go through that, the first question is, how does it feel to meet a friend after a long time? So the very word friend has got so much of affection towards it. So what a friend in need is a friend indeed, we say. So we have got a connection of a special bond with a friend. So it may the relation of two friends is something very much understanding. So here the friend is one, and the final words when it comes, a friend in need is a friend indeed means. So whatever the problems are, we share them with our friends. The happiness also we share with our friends. So when we classmates, for example, how does it feel to meet a friend after a long time? So we would have been, after our school days or after our college days, the friends move in their own life. So they would have joined for the job or gone in their own field where they have been successful. So after 30-35 years, if you meet them, after nearly a gap of 20 to 25 years, if you meet them, the happiness what you get after meeting your friend, and that happiness is something very different, and it can be experienced, and the experience of that happiness which can't be in words at all. So the happiness of meeting your friend after a long time is such a pleasant happiness. If feelings can't be expressed at all, sometimes you just get numb with words, or you just feel the happiness is so much that you just go with it. So when you meet a friend for a long time, after a long time, that just you are don't know how to express your happiness. Sometimes you fumble for the words, or you just getting introduced. Isn't it you whom I had as my classmate? or is it you, the same person who was my classmate? So there is a communication like that, and we just have, and when we come to know that the same friend we have met after many years, we just go on telling what all we wanted to share with our friend after a long time. So how does it feel to meet a friend after a long time? The happiness or the very happiness or the emotions which are there after meeting two friends is very pleasant. And the second point is, why do some relationships come to an end? Suddenly they are very close friends. What happens? Suddenly some incident happens and they don't see each other's face at all. So there is sometimes a misunderstanding between two friends, a relation which breaks away suddenly, and you don't want to see each other for your lifetime. At that time what happens, the friends who were so close, where they were an example in the school or colleges, see, there goes the two friends who are very close, they are the example for friendship. Suddenly we see them becoming, when we see them getting separated, or we see them not talking to each other, or there is a gap where you feel, you come, why they are separated like that, what happened in between their relation, and we come to know that they have stopped talking, or they are separated from each other. So when we come to know about such friendship which have been broken, we just have this feeling that it should have been through some misunderstanding, or there is something which has been not kept in the the friendship which has been broken because of some or the other problem. So here it comes to an end. Sometimes the close friends become dead enemies there. So they don't want to have a communication, they don't want to meet, and they say, this is the last time I'll be seeing your face. So it comes sometimes the relationships come to an end when there is no faith in each other, or when they lose faith on each other, or there is a misunderstanding between two of them. So this is how we come to know about relationship being come to an end. Now children, when we go to the next part, here we have got a picture here which tells you about a man and a woman sitting on a bench near a tree, and we see some of the birds which are there near the lady, where she is putting some bread crumbs to them. So we come to know that in this lesson it is a park in Madrid. Madrid is the capital of Spain, and here in Spain, in Madrid, in one of the parks, we see this old man and an old woman who are nearly 70 sitting here in one bench, and there is this lady who is putting bread crumbs to the birds which have come there, and she is happily feeding them. And we see a man who has taken he is not only wearing glasses, he has got one of the other we see with him having having a book where he is reading in a park. So this is one of the pictures which has been given here, and let us go with the characters which have been there in this play. In this play we come across the four main characters. Is the first character what we are going through is Donna Lura. She is the heroine of this particular drama. So Donna Lura is the heroine, and Donna is a word used in Spain for the word. It may either be Miss or Madam. So this is the word which is being used here in respect. Donna is Miss or Madam, and Lura is the name. Then we come across Petra. Petra is one more character who is the maid of Lura. She is the servant, maid or a servant, who is her name is Petra, and she is the maid for Lura. Then we come across Dan Gonzalo. Dan Gonzalo is the hero of this particular play, where Don means it is sir in Spanish, where we come across the word Don Gonzalo means, so he is a respected man and he is called as Sir here. And Gonzalo is the meaning of this, Gonzalo is the name of this character. So Don Gonzalo is the hero of this particular story, and Junato is his servant. Junato is the servant of Don Gonzalo. So we come across the hero and heroine, and then we come across her servant, her maid, and his servant. So these are the four main characters what we are going to see in this particular story. Now, how does the scene start here? So what is the scene? The very first scene where we are seeing in this park is, it's a very sunny morning in a retired corner of a park in Madrid, and the season is autumn now. A bench at right, Donna Laura, a handsome white-haired old lady of about 70. Refined in appearance, her bright eyes and entire manner giving evidence that despite her age, her mental facilities are unimpaired, enters leaning upon the arm of a maid, Petra. In her free hand, she carries a parasol which serves also as a cane. So the very scene what we see here is, it's a very sunny morning, and it is in the park, one of the parks of Madrid, the capital of Spain, and the season is the falling of the leaf season, that is, and what we see is, there is a bench which is at the right side, and Donna Laura is the heroine who is so handsome at the age of 70 also. She is very good to look at, and she has got completely hairs are white, and she is about 70 years, but in her appearance she is so good to look at, and her eyes are bright and very active, and her manner, that despite her age, we can just make, though she is 70, she is mentally very strong. Her mental faculties are unimpaired, undamaged. For an age of 70, you can tell she is very, very active at that age. And here she enters into the park with leaning on her maid's, she is having her hands caught with the servant, where she comes leaning upon the arm of a servant, that is Petra, and in one of her free hands she has got a parasol which serves also as a cane. She is having a parasol which is also called, which is also an umbrella, and which is also acting as a walking stick also. That is how we see how the very first scene what we see is in the park of Madrid, where we see there enters one of the beautiful ladies in her 70s. She comes to the bench which is at the right side, and she is walking with her maid leaning on her hand, and she comes into this particular park. We see her entering there, but to look at, though she is 70 of in her age, she is very beautiful to look at, and she is mentally very strong and very active. That's how we see the very introduction of the Donna Laura. So after that, what we come to know is, we come to know about the character of Donna Laura, what she does there. So Donna Laura, when she comes to the park, what we see is, she opens her. So here she has come, and she is very happy to be in the park, and I am glad to be here, she says. And she is in a fear that whether her seat has been occupied, and she says, what a beautiful morning it is, and my seat, I am happy that to see that my seat has not been taken away by anybody. And that particular time, this Petra says to her, so it is so hot, the sun is so hot, she feels. And she says, yes, because you are 20 years of age and your young age, you can feel the hotness. She sits down on the bench now, talking. Donna Laura first happily sits in the bench, which is always the bench where she sits. And she says, after walking with her maid Petra, she says, I feel so tired than usual. So walking this much to the park with you, with your help also, I feel so tired than usual. And Petra is very much engaged, mentally she is engaged in some other thing, and she is very impatient, and she sees the impatience of her maid, and she says, go if you wish to chat with your guard, she says. Come on, yeah, I am sitting here, now my work is over, and now you can go. As you are very impatient to be here, you want to go and have a chat with your guard who is there, the guard, you can go, she says. And Petra says, see ma'am, you can't call me as mine, you can't call the guard as mine, because Senora, he is not mine. Senora is a respective word in Spain. This is also one of the words, like how Donna, it is a Senora means in Spain, it is a respective word. He doesn't belong, this guard doesn't belong to me. He belongs to the whole of the park, she says. See, he is not mine, he is to the whole of the park, he is a guard. And Donna Laura says for that, see, I have a doubt now whether he belongs more to you than to the park, because always when you go find him, but remain within calling distance. Whatever you are arguing, I know you are going to run to him and talk to you. So there is no other thing. You just be within. Whenever I call, you should be coming back. Be in calling distance. Don't go too far. Be within the distance. When I call you, you should be coming. So, and now Petra, what she says, I can see that he is waiting for me. She says, see madam, I'll just move away because I see him waiting for me. And Donna Laura said, don't remain more than 10 minutes. So you go, but you come within 10 minutes, you have to be back. At that time, Petra tells to her, very well, sir, madam, and she just about to walk. And when she is about to go, once again, Laura tells, wait. So, what do you want, ma'am? She asks. At that time, she said, come on, give me the breadcrumbs, what I had brought. So, here, she gives the breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs, I don't know what is the matter with me. So, she gives in a hurry, she just takes the breadcrumbs bag, which has been a small pouch, which has been brought, and she gives to Donna Laura. And in that, she is also stammering. I don't know what is, I don't know. What is the matter with me? See, even my hands are not working me. I'm impatient. I don't know what has happened to me. She is so excited to meet the guy or the guard whom she wants to meet. And here, Donna Laura says, I know what is happening to you. Your head is where your heart is, with the guard. So, your head is not with what I am telling and what I am talking. It's already running away with the guard. So, you are mentally already with the guard, and only physically you are present here. So, give me the breadcrumbs and go there. And Donna Laura, after telling that, she says, here, Senora. She hands Donna Laura a small bag, exit by right. So, at that time, Donna Laura says, adios. So, adios, bye, just move. And here, she takes the breadcrumbs in her hands and just goes on putting the breadcrumbs on the grass. She glanced towards the tree at the right. There is a tree which is there at the right side where she is sitting in the park, and she is talking to herself. Here they come, they know just when to expect me. So she is talking to herself, and she is putting these breadcrumbs in front of her, where she knows as soon as she comes and sits there, there are the birds which are waiting. There are doves which are waiting for her breadcrumbs. Usually at this particular time, daily she has got a habit of coming to the park, sitting there at this particular time, bringing the breadcrumbs to these birds. And as soon as she comes and sits there, and she just goes on through it, they know just when to expect me. She walks towards the right, throws 3 handfuls of breadcrumbs. These are for the sprayest. She goes on saying, these are for the sprayest, means the most active and energetic birds. So the doves which are most active and energetic, and these are for the gallatans. So the gallatans are which don't feel enough. They go on eating. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಬಾಕ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಿಂದರೂ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತೃಪ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮಾತಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಮ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಲಟನ್ಸ್. ದೋಸ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಗ್ರೀಡಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋ ಆನ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈಡ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಟಮ್ಮಿ ನೆವರ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಫಿಲ್ಡ್. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ಗ್ಯಾಲಟನ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್. Very always these small birds which are there, they just go on plucking or pecking the food which is there. She laughs at that. She returns to her seat and watches with a pleased expression the pigeons feeding. So these are the birds are pigeons or the dove which come there regularly when she comes to the park, and she can recognize the birds also, because daily she has made it a habit of putting the breadcrumbs to these birds, and she goes on recognizing the birds, though they are similar, very different in shape and size and even in colors. She goes on recognizing each and every bird which are in the activities. So she has kept the one of as the sprayest, Gallatin, and some are the ones who are persistent, and she is very happy, smiling there, sitting and putting these breadcrumbs to the birds there. And there, that big one is always the first to come. I know him by his big head. She has kept the name as Big Head because he has got a big head either than the other birds, and she always says this is the first bird to come, or the first pigeon who comes and takes the breads from me. Bread. And no one, and one, and she sees another coming, now two, now three. The little fellow is the least timid. So the one who is the youngest, the smallest of the birds in these pigeons is not at all frightened bird. He is a least timid. Timid is very mild, but he is not at all so mild. If you feed him in hand also, he can just take the breadcrumbs and run away. Like that, he is the least timid. I believe he could eat from my hand itself. And he, that one takes the piece and flies up. One particular bird, he doesn't mind taking the bird. He just takes the breadcrumbs. He goes to in and sits alone in one of the branches. And she has kept the name for that particular pigeon as a philosopher. He doesn't mingle with any of these birds. He goes, sits on a branch, and he just goes on thinking and eating there, and he is a particular bird who loves to be alone, and he is called as the philosopher, and he is a philosopher. But where do they all come from? It seems as if the news has spread, and she says, and now the birds go on having as soon as the breadcrumbs are one after the other they come, and she goes on talking to herself with the birds as if she is communicating with them, and she tells, I don't know how they are going to, I don't know how they come to know that I have come and I have started, but within no time all these birds appear, and she is very happily laughing, giving the birds, and she goes on talking with them, don't quarrel, I'll bring more for you tomorrow, I'll bring more tomorrow. That's how she conversation stops here. Thank you children. Tomorrow I'll be starting the next part.